The smell of rust and oil filled the air as Park Do-hoon walked through the spacecraft graveyard. Broken ships stretched in every direction like the bones of dead giants. Some were human vessels, their paint faded and hulls cracked. Others were alien machines that no one could identify anymore. This was Orbital Station Gamma 7, the place where old ships came to die. Do-hoon wiped sweat from his forehead and checked his scanner. Another long day of cutting metal and sorting parts. He earned just enough credits to pay for his tiny room and cheap food, nothing more. At 28 years old, he had already accepted that this would be his life forever. His co-worker Yoon Ji-soo walked up beside him. She was a short woman with sharp eyes and oil stains on her jacket. They had worked together for 3 years now. "Find anything good today?" she asked. Do-hoon shook his head. Same as always. Junk. They walked deeper into the graveyard, past mountains of scrap metal and broken engines. The station's artificial sun was setting, casting long shadows across the wreckage. Most workers had already gone home, but Do-hoon liked to stay late. He found peace in the quiet. Then he saw something strange. Between two crushed cargo ships, there was a shape that did not belong. It was smooth where everything else was rough. It was curved where everything else was sharp. Do-hoon moved closer, his heart beating faster. The ship was small, maybe 30 meters long. Its surface looked like dark blue water frozen in time. There were no visible seams, no bolts, no welding marks. It looked grown rather than built. "What is that?" Ji-soo whispered behind him. Do-hoon checked his scanner. The station's system identified it as unclaimed debris, with a clearance price of 50 credits. 50 credits was nothing. It was less than a day's wages. For something this unusual, that price made no sense. "It's alien," Do-hoon said. "Old alien. Maybe Valori design, but I'm not sure." Ji-soo grabbed his arm. "Don't be stupid. Alien tech is dangerous. Remember what happened to that guy on level 9? He opened an alien container and breathed poison gas, dead in seconds." Do-hoon knew she was right, but something pulled him toward the ship. It was like a voice in his chest, quiet but strong. He could not explain it. "I'm buying it," he said. "You're crazy." "Probably." He transferred 50 credits through his communicator. The station system accepted the payment and registered the ship as his property. Just like that, Do-hoon owned a spacecraft. A broken, mysterious, possibly dangerous spacecraft. Ji-soo refused to come closer. She stood back with her arms crossed, ready to run if anything went wrong. Do-hoon appreciated her caution, but he could not stop himself. He found what looked like an entrance on the ship's side. When he touched it, the surface rippled like water, and a door opened. Warm air flowed out, carrying a sweet smell like flowers after rain. Inside, the ship was beautiful. The walls glowed with soft blue light. The floor was smooth and warm under his feet. There was a pilot's chair in the center, surrounded by panels that showed symbols he did not recognize. As soon as Do-hoon stepped fully inside, the door closed behind him. For a moment, he felt fear. Then the entire ship hummed to life. Lights danced across every surface. The symbols on the panels began to move and change. A holographic figure appeared in front of him, tall and graceful, with 4 arms and skin that glowed like starlight. It was a Valori, the alien species that humans had almost gone to war with 400 years ago. The hologram spoke in a language of musical sounds. Do-hoon understood nothing. Then the figure paused, and when it spoke again, the words were in broken Korean. "If you are hearing this, you are worthy. Please, care for her. She has waited so long." The message ended. The hologram disappeared. Do-hoon stood frozen, his mind racing. What did worthy mean? Who was she? A new voice filled the ship. It was soft and calm, like a mother speaking to a child. "Hello, new guardian. I am glad you have come. Who are you?" Do-hoon asked, his voice shaking. "I am the heart of this vessel. For many years I have slept, but your touch awakened me. You carry something special in your spirit. I do not know what it is, but I know it is good." Do-hoon sat down in the pilot's chair. His legs were weak. This was too much to understand. "My name is Do-hoon," he said finally. "Park Do-hoon. I'm nobody special. I just work in a junkyard." "Names do not make worth," the ship replied. "Actions do. You came to me when others walked past. You saw beauty where others saw trash. That is enough." Outside, Jisoo was calling his name, her voice worried. Do-hoon wanted to answer, but the ship's sensors suddenly showed something that made him freeze again. A large vessel was approaching the station. It was not human. Its design matched the ship he was sitting in. "Velori." "Ship," Do-hoon said. "Are those your people?" "Yes." Guardian. "The Velori have not visited human space in 400 years. But they are coming now. I believe they are coming for me." Do-hoon's heart pounded. He had spent 50 credits on a piece of junk. Now aliens were arriving because of it. "What do I do?" he asked. "You wait," the ship said gently. "And you trust. Whatever happens next, know that you have already changed things. A human has awakened a Velori heart. This has never happened before." Do-hoon looked at the approaching ship on the screen. He thought about his small room, his boring job, his empty life. He thought about all the times he had wished for something more. Now something more was coming. He just hoped it would not kill him. Outside, Jisoo finally opened the door and rushed in. She stopped when she saw the glowing walls and the worried look on Do-hoon's face. "What did you do?" she demanded. Do-hoon pointed at the screen showing the Velori ship. "I think I just started something big," he said. The two friends stood together in the alien ship, watching history fly toward them through the darkness of space. The Velori ship docked at Orbital Station Gamma 7 3 hours later. By then, the entire station knew something important was happening. News spread fast in space, and the arrival of aliens who had avoided humans for 4 centuries was the biggest news in a generation. Do-hoon sat in a waiting room near the docking bay. His hands would not stop shaking. Jisoo sat beside him, loyal as always, though she looked just as scared. "They're going to arrest you," she said quietly. "You stole their ship. I bought it legally. The station said it was unclaimed debris. Do you think they care about human paperwork?" Before Do-hoon could answer, the door opened. Captain Oh Mirai walked in. She was a tall woman in military uniform, with gray hair and hard eyes. She commanded the station's defense forces and had a reputation for being cold. "Park Do-hoon," she said, her voice flat. "You have created a diplomatic incident. The Velori ambassador wants to meet you personally." Do-hoon stood up. "Am I in trouble?" "I don't know yet. Human-Velori relations have been fragile since the Great Misunderstanding 400 years ago. We almost destroyed each other over a translation error. So yes, you might be in very serious trouble, or this might be nothing. Either way, you will show respect and speak carefully. Understood?" "Yes, Captain." Mirai led them through the station's corridors. Soldiers lined the walls, their weapons ready but lowered. Everyone they passed stared at Do-hoon like he was already a dead man. The meeting room was large and simple. A round table sat in the center with chairs on both sides. On one side stood 3 Velori. Do-hoon had never seen aliens in person before. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Each one stood over 2 meters tall, with 4 arms and skin that glowed with soft inner light. Their eyes were large and dark, like pools of deep water. The oldest Velori stepped forward. His glow was dimmer than the others, and his movements were slow and careful. He wore simple robes of silver cloth. "I am Ishan," he said. His voice was surprisingly gentle, and his Korean was much better than the recorded message on the ship. "I have traveled very far to find my old friend, and now I am told a human has awakened her." Do-hoon bowed deeply. He did not know Valori customs, but respect seemed safe. "I am Park Do-hoon. I found the ship in our junkyard. I paid for it through proper channels. I did not know it belonged to anyone. If I have offended you, I apologize." Ishan was silent for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He laughed. It was a warm sound, like wind through leaves. The other Valori looked surprised, and even Captain Mireille raised her eyebrows. "Offended me?" Ishan said. "Young human, you have given me a gift beyond measure. Yunha was lost during the Great Drift War. I searched for her for 60 years before accepting she was gone forever. And now, after all this time, she has been found, alive, awake, because of you." Do-hoon blinked. "Yunha? That is the name she chose after scanning your languages. It means galaxy in your words, a fitting name for a ship that has traveled so far." Relief flooded through Do-hoon. He was not going to die. The alien was happy, not angry, but Ishan was not finished. In Valori culture, we have a sacred tradition. When someone saves something precious that was lost, we owe them a life debt of gratitude. You have earned such a debt, Park Do-hoon. I must repay you with a gift of equal value. "That's not necessary," Do-hoon said quickly. "I just bought a ship. Anyone could have done it. But no one did. For hundreds of years, Yunha sat in your junkyard. Thousands of humans walked past her. Only you stopped. Only you listened to her call. That is not luck. That is fate." Ishan moved closer. Despite his gentle manner, his presence was overwhelming. Do-hoon felt like standing before a mountain. "I wish to give you a gift that will change your life," Ishan said. "But first, you must prove yourself worthy to receive it. This is not my demand. It is tradition. The gift must match the receiver, or it will bring harm instead of good." Captain Mireille stepped forward. "What kind of proof?" Ishan smiled. "There is a place called the Shattered Corridor, a region of broken space, filled with dangers. No human has ever survived passing through it. But Valori pilots fly it regularly, because our ships bond with us and guide us through." He looked at Do-hoon with those deep, dark eyes. "If you can pilot Yunha through the Shattered Corridor, I will know you are truly worthy. The bond between human and Valori ship will be proven. And the gift I give you will be something the universe has never seen." The room fell silent. Jisoo grabbed Do-hoon's arm. "Don't," she whispered. "This is crazy. You'll die." But Do-hoon looked at Ishan and saw something in the old alien's face. It was hope. The same kind of hope Do-hoon had felt when he first touched the ship. The hope that maybe, just maybe, life could become something more. "I'll do it," Do-hoon said. Captain Mireille shook her head. "This is foolish." "Maybe," Do-hoon agreed. "But I have spent my whole life being safe and careful. And what did it get me? A tiny room and a job cutting metal. I finally have a chance for something different. I won't throw it away." Ishan placed one of his 4 hands on Do-hoon's shoulder. The touch was warm and surprisingly comforting. "You have courage, young human. I see now why Yunha chose you. You have 2 weeks to prepare. My observer will travel with you to witness and judge." A younger Valori stepped forward. He looked less friendly than Ishan, with cold eyes and stiff posture. "I am Beck," he said shortly. "I do not believe a human can bond with a Valori ship. I expect you to fail and die. Prove me wrong if you can." Do-hoon met his gaze without looking away. "I will," he said. 2 weeks to learn how to fly an alien ship. 2 weeks to prepare for the most dangerous journey in known space. 2 weeks to become something no human had ever been. Do-hoon did not know if he could do it, but for the first time in his life, he was excited to try. Valori ships did not work like human vessels. Human ships used computers and buttons and screens. A pilot gave commands and the machine obeyed. Simple, mechanical, cold. Valori ships were alive. Not truly alive, Yuna explained, but close enough. Her systems were grown from organic materials. Her controls responded to thoughts and feelings, not fingers and keyboards. To fly her properly, Do-hoon needed to bond with her. Their minds had to connect. This process is painful for Valori, Yuna warned him on the first day. For a human, it may be much worse. Your brain is different from theirs. Do-hoon sat in the pilot's chair and closed his eyes. Let's try anyway. The pain hit him like fire. It burned through his skull and down his spine. He screamed and fell from the chair, his body shaking on the floor. Jisoo ran to him immediately. Stop this! You're killing him! I stopped the moment he fell, Yunha said, her voice worried. The bond was open for only 3 seconds. It took Do-hoon an hour to recover. When he could finally stand again, he looked at the pilot's chair with new fear. We try again tomorrow, he said. Jisoo wanted to argue, but she knew that look in his eyes. Once Do-hoon decided something, nothing could change his mind. Days passed. Each attempt lasted a little longer. 3 seconds became 5. 5 became 10. The pain never lessened, but Do-hoon learned to push through it. He would fall and shake and sometimes vomit. Then he would rest and try again. On the 5th day, Han Yuna arrived. She was a woman about Do-hoon's age, with tired eyes and nervous hands. She introduced herself as a navigator, one of the best in human space. She had heard about Do-hoon's mission and wanted to join. Why? Do-hoon asked. Yuna looked away. 3 years ago, I made a mistake. My calculations were wrong, and my ship flew into an asteroid field. 12 people died. I survived, but I lost everything. My career, my confidence, my purpose. She met his eyes again. I need a chance to prove I'm still useful. Please let me help you. Do-hoon saw the pain in her face. He understood it because he had felt the same emptiness before finding Yunha. Welcome to the crew, he said. With Jisoo handling engineering and Yuna handling navigation, Do-hoon could focus entirely on bonding with the ship. But Beck, the young Valori observer, watched everything with cold judgment. You are wasting your time, Beck said on the 8th day. Humans are not built for this. You should accept failure now and save yourself the embarrassment. Do-hoon ignored him and closed his eyes. That day, he finally held the bond for 30 seconds, and in those 30 seconds, he felt something incredible. He felt Yunha's thoughts touching his. He felt her joy at being awake, her loneliness from centuries of sleep, her hope that this human might truly become her partner. When he opened his eyes, tears ran down his face. I felt her, he whispered. I actually felt her. Even Beck had nothing critical to say. On the 14th day, they launched. The shattered corridor waited for them at the edge of the solar system. It was a region of twisted space created by an ancient war. Gravitational waves pulled in random directions. Debris from destroyed ships floated everywhere like deadly rain. Spatial rifts opened and closed without warning, capable of tearing any vessel apart. Human ships relied on computers to navigate such dangers. But computers were too slow. By the time they calculated a safe path, the path had already changed. That was why no human had ever survived the corridor. Valori ships bonded with their pilots. The connection allowed instant reaction, faster than thought. Pilot and ship moved as one being. Do-hoon took a deep breath and activated the bond. The pain came, but he pushed through it. Yuna's mind wrapped around his like a warm blanket. He could feel everything, the hum of her engines, the pulse of her energy, the vast emptiness of space outside. I am here, Yunha whispered in his mind. Together. They entered the corridor. Chaos exploded around them. Gravitational waves slammed into the ship from every direction. Debris flew past at impossible speeds. A spatial rift opened directly ahead, its edges crackling with destructive energy. Human instinct told Do-hoon to calculate, to think, to analyze. But Yuna guided him differently. She showed him how to feel the currents of broken space, how to sense danger before it arrived, how to trust intuition over logic. Do-hoon let go of his human training. He stopped thinking and started feeling. The ship danced. There was no other word for it. Yuna twisted and spun through the chaos with impossible grace. Do-hoon's hands never touched the controls. His mind simply knew where to go, and the ship responded. But then, something strange happened. Yuna called out numbers from her station. Navigation data, trajectory calculations, human math that had no place in Valori piloting. And somehow it helped. Do-hoon realized that he was doing something new. He was combining human analysis with Valori intuition. His brain processed Yuna's calculations while his bonded mind felt Yuna's guidance. Two different approaches became one. They moved faster than any Valori ship had moved through the corridor. They dodged dangers before sensors detected them. They found paths that should have been impossible. Beck stood at the back of the bridge, his mouth open in shock. After 47 minutes, they emerged on the other side. The shattered corridor lay behind them. Ahead was calm, clear space. Jisoo screamed with joy and hugged Yuna. Even Yunha's voice trembled with emotion. "We did it, Guardian. We did what no one believed possible." Beck walked slowly to Do-hoon's chair. His cold expression had changed to something like wonder. "I was wrong about you," he said quietly. "You are not just a human trying to be Valori. You are something new, something neither of our peoples has ever seen." Do-hoon smiled weakly. The bond had exhausted him completely. Then the ship's sensors showed something that made everyone freeze, a distress signal. Coming from inside the corridor, a Valori colony ship was trapped in there. 10,000 civilians, slowly dying, and Do-hoon was the only one who could save them. The distress signal was weak and broken, but the message was clear. A Valori colony ship named Hanal had lost engine power while passing through the shattered corridor. Now it was caught in a collapsing spatial rift, slowly being pulled apart. 10,000 Valori civilians waited inside for rescue that would never come. No Valori ship was close enough to help, and no Valori pilot could navigate the specific region where Hanal was trapped. The gravitational forces there were too extreme, the space too twisted, but Do-hoon had just proven that a human Valori bond could handle the impossible. "We have to go back," he said immediately. Beck shook his head. "You barely survived the first crossing. Your body is exhausted. The bond drains energy from both pilot and ship. If you go back now, you will die. And if I don't go, 10,000 people will die instead." Before anyone could argue, Captain Mirai's voice came through the communication system. She was calling from Gamma 7. "Park Do-hoon, this is a direct order from Human Command. Do not interfere with the Valori situation. Our species has no obligation to risk human lives for alien civilians. Any action you take will be considered unauthorized and may damage diplomatic relations." Do-hoon stared at the speaker. "They're dying in there. That is not our problem. Return to the station immediately." The communication ended. Jisoo put her hand on Do-hoon's shoulder. "She's right that it's dangerous, and she's right that you could make things worse politically, but she's wrong that it's not our problem. How can we call ourselves human if we let 10,000 people die when we could help?" Yuna nodded. "I'm with you. Whatever you decide." Even Beck, the cold observer who had doubted Do-hoon from the start, spoke up. "My people are in that ship. Families, children. If there is any chance to save them, I cannot ask you to ignore it. But I also cannot ask you to sacrifice yourself." Do-hoon closed his eyes. He felt Yunha's presence in his mind, warm and steady. "What do you think?" he asked her silently. "I think that 50 credits bought more than a ship," Yuna replied. "It bought a choice. The choice to be someone who turns away, or someone who reaches out. Whatever you choose, I am with you." Do-hoon opened his eyes. "We're going back," he said. They turned the ship around and flew into the chaos once more. This time was harder, much harder. Do-hoon's body was already weak, and the bond drained energy he did not have. But he pushed forward anyway, guided by Yuna's light and Yuna's calculations. They found Hanal after 20 minutes of flying through hell. The colony ship was massive, nearly a kilometer long. But it looked fragile now, caught in the grip of a spatial rift that twisted space around it like a tornado. Cracks spread across its hull. Emergency lights flashed in desperate patterns. "Their engines are completely dead," Jisoo reported from her station. "They can't move on their own, and the rift is getting stronger. In maybe 30 minutes, the ship will be torn apart." Do-hoon's mind raced. They could not tow Hanal out. Yunha was too small. They could not wait for help. No one else could reach them in time. "I have an idea," Yuna said suddenly. "It's crazy, but it might work." She explained quickly. Valori ships could create small tunnels in space, paths of stable reality through chaotic regions. If Eunha created such a tunnel, Hanal might be able to drift through it to safety. But Eunha's tunnel-making power was weak. The tunnel would collapse within seconds, unless Yuna could calculate the exact trajectory for Hanal to drift through in that tiny window of time, and unless Jisoo could somehow restart Hanal's engines remotely, giving the colony ship just enough power to move. "It's impossible," Beck said. "Too many things must go perfectly. One mistake and everyone dies." "Then we don't make mistakes," Do-hoon said. They got to work. Jisoo put on a spacesuit and launched herself toward Hanal. She would have to board the damaged ship and repair the engines by hand while floating through twisted space. One wrong move, and she would be crushed by gravitational forces. Yuna ran calculations faster than she ever had before. Numbers and angles and timing filled her screens. This was the most complex navigation problem of her life. If she failed, her mistake would kill 10,000 people instead of 12. And Do-hoon prepared to create a tunnel. The process required everything he had. He bonded with Yunha so deeply that he could no longer tell where he ended and she began. Their minds merged completely, becoming one consciousness. "Creating tunnel in 3 minutes, Yunha announced, her voice now the same as Do-hoon's thoughts. "Jisoo." "Status?" Jisoo's voice came through, strained and breathless. "I'm inside Hanal's engine room. These systems are completely different from human tech. Give me time." "We don't have time." "Then give me what we have." 2 minutes passed. Yuna finished her calculations and sent them to Hanal's navigation system. If the engines started, the colony ship would know exactly where to go. 1 minute left. Jisoo cursed loudly over the communication channel. "The main power coupling is fused. I can't repair it properly, but I can bypass it. The engines will only work for about 40 seconds before they explode." "40 seconds is enough," Yuna said. "Barely." 30 seconds. Do-hoon felt Yunha gathering power. The ship hummed with energy that made his bones shake. Pain flooded through the bond worse than anything he had felt before, but he held on. 10 seconds. "Jisoo, get out of there!" Yuna shouted. "I'm going!" 0. Do-hoon screamed as Yunha released her power. A tunnel of stable space tore through the chaos, connecting Hanal's position to clear space beyond. It was beautiful, a corridor of blue light in a storm of destruction. Hanal's engines fired. The colony ship lurched forward, moving faster than it should have been able to move. It entered the tunnel. The tunnel began to collapse. Edges crumbled. The path narrowed. Hanal was too slow. They would not make it. "More power!" Do-hoon shouted through the bond. "There is no more," Yunha replied. "I am giving everything." "Then take mine." He felt Yunha hesitate. Taking energy from a bonded pilot was dangerous. It could kill him. "Take it," he repeated. "Please." Yunha took his energy. The tunnel widened. Hanal pushed through the final meters and emerged into clear space. just as the corridor collapsed behind it. Jisu's escape pod shot out from Hanal's emergency hatch seconds before the ship's engines exploded. But the explosion only damaged empty sections. The civilians were safe. 10,000 Valori were alive because of one human, one ship, and a bond that should have been impossible. Do-hun collapsed in his chair. His body felt empty, like a container with nothing left inside. The bond with Yuna flickered weakly. "Guardian," Yuna whispered, "Guardian, please respond." But Do-hun could not hear her anymore. He had fallen into a darkness deeper than sleep, and he was not sure he would ever wake up. He could not feel his body. He could not hear any sounds. There was only emptiness, vast and cold, stretching in every direction. He wondered if this was death. Then a light appeared. It was soft and blue, like Yuna's glow. It drifted toward him slowly, growing brighter as it came closer. When it reached him, the light formed into a shape. A young Valori girl, no more than 10 years old, with curious eyes and a gentle smile. "Hello," she said. "You must be the human my father told me about." Do-hun tried to speak, but could not find his voice. "Do not worry," the girl continued. "I know this is strange. I am not truly here. I am a memory, a piece of who I was before I became part of this ship." Understanding came slowly through the fog in Do-hun's mind. Yuna had told him that Valori ships carried the essence of their creators. This girl must be the original essence, the one who became Unha. "Ishan is your father," Do-hun finally managed to say. The girl nodded. "I died young, an illness that our medicine could not cure. But my father loved me so much that he built a ship to carry my spirit. That way, part of me could keep living, keep exploring, keep seeing the stars." Tears formed in Do-hun's eyes, though he had no physical eyes to cry with. "What happened to me?" he asked. "Am I dead?" "Almost. You gave too much energy to save those people. Your mind is damaged. Without help, you will fade away and never wake up." Fear gripped him. He did not want to die, not now, when he had finally found purpose. "But there is a way to save you," the girl said. "I can merge with your consciousness, become part of you forever. My essence will repair the damage and keep you alive." "What happens to you?" The girl smiled sadly. "I will no longer be separate, no longer be Yunha as I was. Instead, I will be something new, part of you, a voice in your mind, a companion in your heart, but I will not be me anymore." Do-hun shook his head. "No, I won't let you sacrifice yourself for me." "It is not sacrifice," she replied. "It is growth. For hundreds of years I have been alone in this ship, dreaming of the stars but never truly part of them. When you bonded with me, I felt something I had never felt before. Connection, purpose, love." She moved closer, her light warming him. "Valori believe in cycles," she continued. "Loss, return, loss again. We accept endings because we know beginnings will follow. But you humans are different. You believe in building forward, in making something that lasts. You taught me that." Do-hun felt her light touching his consciousness, gentle and kind. "Let me build forward with you," she whispered. "Let me become part of your story instead of ending my own. That is not sacrifice. That is the greatest gift I could receive." For a long moment, Do-hun said nothing. Then he reached out and took her hand. "Okay," he said softly. "Together." The light exploded around him, through him, into him. He felt Yunha's essence flowing into every corner of his mind, filling the damaged places, healing the broken connections. It was not painful. It was warm, like sunlight after a long winter. When it ended, he was no longer alone in his own head. Do-hun opened his eyes. He was lying in a medical bed on Gamma 7. Jisu sat beside him, her face pale and exhausted. When she saw him wake, she burst into tears and grabbed his hand. "You idiot!" she sobbed. "You've been unconscious for 3 days. We thought you were gone." Yuna stood at the foot of the bed, smiling with relief. Beck was there too, and for the first time his cold face showed genuine warmth. "The civilians from Hanal are safe," Yuna reported. "All 10,000 of them. They're calling you a hero." Do-hoon sat up slowly. His body felt strange, different somehow. When he looked at his hands, he saw faint patterns of blue light beneath his skin, like glowing veins, and in his mind he heard a familiar voice. "Good morning, Guardian. I told you we would be together." He smiled. The door opened, and Ishan walked in. The old Valori moved slowly to Do-hoon's bedside and looked at him with eyes full of emotion. "You did more than pass my trial," Ishan said. "You saved my people. You bonded with my daughter's spirit. You became something our two species have never seen before." He reached into his robes and pulled out a small crystal that glowed with inner light. "This is the life-changing gift I promised you. It is a symbol recognized throughout Valori space. Whoever carries it is granted the title of Starkin, a rank equal to our highest leaders. No Valori will ever deny you respect or aid." Do-hoon took the crystal. It pulsed warmly in his palm. "But that is only part of the gift," Ishan continued. "Yunha has been rebuilt and upgraded with both human and Valori technology. She is now the most advanced ship in known space, and she is yours forever." "I don't know what to say," Do-hoon whispered. "Say you will use this gift wisely. Say you will help our species understand each other. For 400 years, humans and Valori have lived in cold peace, afraid of another misunderstanding. But you have shown that we can be more. We can be partners, friends, family." Ishan placed his hand on Do-hoon's shoulder. "I am asking you to become the first human Valori ambassador, to travel between our peoples and build bridges where there were only walls. Will you accept?" Do-hoon looked at Jisoo, who nodded with tears in her eyes. He looked at Yuna, who smiled and gave him a thumbs up. He looked at Beck, who bowed his head in respect. And he felt Yunha's presence in his mind, warm and eager. "I accept," Do-hoon said. 1 week later, he stood on Yunha's rebuilt bridge. The ship was beautiful, a perfect blend of human technology and Valori design. Screens and controls sat alongside organic panels and glowing surfaces. Jisoo was at the engineering station, already complaining about how strange the hybrid systems were. Yuna was at navigation, running test calculations with a smile on her face. Even Beck had decided to stay, serving as their connection to Valori culture. Captain Mireille had come to see them off. Her cold expression had softened since the rescue. "I was wrong about you," she admitted. "I thought you were a fool rushing toward death. Instead, you became something extraordinary. Go well, Ambassador Park." She saluted him, and Do-hoon saluted back. The ship's engines hummed to life. Stars waited outside, countless and beautiful. "Where shall we go, Guardian?" Yuna asked in his mind. Do-hoon smiled, feeling her joy mixing with his own. "Everywhere," he said. Yuna launched forward, carrying a crew of humans and Valori together into the unknown. Behind them lay a junkyard, a small room, and a life that no longer fit. Ahead lay the entire universe. Do-hoon had paid 50 credits for a pile of junk. In return, he received a ship, a purpose, a family, and a soul bonded to his forever. It was the best deal anyone had ever made.